This is the ideal body type that she truly wants. And I'm gonna get straight to the point. It is having muscle with a low enough body fat that you can see your abs. So anywhere from like 8 to 15% is gonna be the range for most people that they can see their abs. And I'm gonna be honest, the amount of muscle that you have is really not that important. As long as you are developing yourself, you don't need to have a ton of muscle to attract the female gaze. You more just need to be lean and aesthetic than be huge in a bodybuilder. If you are idolizing guys like Sebum or Arnold, you're actually gonna detract more girls than you would if you focused on Mark Wahlberg in like the 1990s, that sort of like muscular, lean physique, where you obviously have muscle, but you're not a bodybuilder and you don't look huge in clothing, but you look really good. You have abs, you're lean, there's visible muscle on your shoulders, chest, and back. That's the sort of look that most girls prefer. If you want to attract the female gaze, that is the ideal body type that you should be focusing on building. And now I want to tell you an old story going all the way back to when I was 17 years old and I had absolutely no game or competency with girls whatsoever, but I had just developed a really good body in quarantine. So for 2 months, I trained hard as fuck for the first time ever, and I packed on a bunch of muscle in my shoulders, chest, and back while staying super lean. So I was probably like 8% body fat. My abs were super cut. You could see the obliques. There was a ton of definition in all the muscles. I mean, it was crazy. I was like 20 pounds lighter than I am now. So by no means was I a bodybuilder. If I was wearing a shirt, I looked very athletic, but I didn't look that big. But I had a lot of lean muscle and I was super ripped to go along with it. And one day my friends and I went cliff jumping, and while we were there was another friend group of girls who we ended up kind of talking to, just hanging out with a little bit. Like I said, I didn't have any game, so I wasn't really carrying or doing too much here. I was just being friendly, being in the environment. But like I said, I had that attractive body. And one of the girls, she liked me. So we ended up jumping off the cliff together. We talked a little bit and I got her snap. And later, my boys and I would always hang out at my place at night and just smoke weed. That's what we did back in the day. And I had a pool and hot tub. So we invited the girls and they actually came. So this was the first time we ever managed to get girls back to my place. And it was like a big deal for us. And I ended up kissing her that night, which at the time was a big deal for me, but nowadays it's not really anything significant at all. But the whole point of this story is that the body is what attracted her. And I also didn't have too much muscle. Like, I wasn't a bodybuilder by any means. I was lean and I was ripped. I had a good bit of definition, but like I said, I was 20 pounds lighter than I am now. I'm currently 154-ish, and back then I was about like 134, 132. So I wasn't that heavy either, but I was super lean. I was way leaner than I was now. You could see it in my face. My abs were way more visible, way more defined. You could see the cuts in all the muscles. And that's really what she found the most attractive about me. On top of that, I was just a friendly, smiley, nice kid, but I was very shy. And this was all I needed to do to attract her. So compared to my other friends who were either just skinny and had no physique or were just fat, I was the one that she found the most attractive and then the one who she wanted to kiss at the end of the night, right? So back in the day, things were a little bit more Mickey Mouse and I didn't have all the skills and competency and I wasn't pulling girls left and right. But the whole point of the story is that body game is extremely powerful. Body game can be the factor that allows you to get girls very, very easily, even if you don't have all the other skills that go into getting girls. You're just gonna be the guy that they want. So for that reason, I built every single one of you a aesthetic body transformation guide showing you exactly how you can build the lean aesthetic body that girls absolutely love, and it's completely for free. It's the first link in the description below. Now I wanna dive into the reasons why women love this type of physique, starting with the first one, which is that you are the rarest breed. So I want you to think about how many people you actually know in your own personal life. Forget about social media. The people that you know that have an aesthetic physique where they both have muscle and they still have their abs. They're not just skinny and lean, and they're not fat with muscle, but they have both. They have muscle and they're still lean. The percentage is so far and few in between. There's probably only a handful of people that you can think of that come to mind for people who match that criteria. And that's why it's so valuable, because it's so rare. And there's a direct link between scarcity and value, making you super rare as an individual, as a guy who has something that everyone wants. Every single guy wants to have that sort of physique, and every single girl wants to date a guy with that sort of physique. You possess something that is extremely valuable when you build an aesthetic body. And the next reason is that you are very touchable and very fuckable. These are two experiences that you will start to notice when you develop an aesthetic physique. And let me give you some examples. So 2 years ago, I was out and there was this girl who really liked my physique, I could tell, because she was touching my shoulders and then she was grabbing my arm a little bit and then she was curious if I had abs. So she just lifted up my shirt and saw my abs and started touching them, and she was all happy and impressed and her eyes lit up and I could just see how attracted she was to it. That one was a little bit too, that doesn't happen too often where a girl lifts up my shirt. But a lot of girls will squeeze my shoulders, squeeze my arms. Like if I'm dancing with a girl, sometimes they're gonna put their hand on your chest and sometimes they'll squeeze and they'll be like, oh my God. Like this one girl did that specifically. We were dancing and she had her hand on my chest and she squeezed my chest and she was like, damn, you have a lot of muscles. She was like all impressed by that. Girls really love to feel muscle. That's something that you'll notice all the time. You have a body that girls want to be around. And the only person who can mess it up from here is you. So girls a lot of the time will be down to fuck you very quickly when you have an aesthetic body and you're super attractive. You don't really have to try too hard or do too much. So there's been times when I brought girls home to my hotel in a matter of minutes. And I'm not exaggerating. The quickest time was 3 minutes. I went to the dance floor. I went out, I started just dancing with some girl, I kissed her, and I brought her home, and I just said, let's go back to my hotel, and she was down. There's been another time where it was 10 minutes, and that one wasn't even a dance floor pole, which was more impressive, honestly. Dance floor is a little bit easy, but this one was just in the outdoor seating area, and I was just wearing a really nice fitted shirt. You could see my shoulders were popping. I was just looking good overall, and when I went up to her, it was just instant connection. The only person who can mess it up from there is you. So when you're super attractive, you're very fuckable. It's like seeing Margot Robbie in the club. Do you really want to sit down on a date and talk to Margot Robbie for 2 hours before you sleep with her? Or are you just down to sleep with her right then and there on the spot? If you're being honest, like me, I'm being honest, I'm down to just sleep with Margot Robbie on the spot. Take her back to my hotel and fuck her. I do not care. She's so attractive. I don't need to have the conversation. I don't want to. I just want to have her in bed with me. That's all I want. And this is the same thing that you'll experience as a very attractive man. You almost flip the script where normally as a guy you have to win the girl over. You kind of just don't have to win the girl over in that way where she's almost pursuing you. She lusts over you and your body the way that guys would normally lust over a girl's body. So it's one of the most valuable things that you can do in this life. If you want to improve your dating life, get an aesthetic body. Go to the gym, develop a nice V-taper, stay lean, put on some muscle. You don't got to get too big, but be very aesthetic in your physique and watch how your dating life changes. So for that reason, I built every single one of you the Aesthetic Body Transformation Guide. It's completely for free. It's the first thing in the description below.